Hello, my name is Mark Messingslugger, Director of Financial Aid at Thomas More University, and welcome to MORETalks Minis on Financial Aid. So when we talk about student aid at any level, where does the money come from, right? The big question, the elephant in the room. The bad news is you didn't win the lottery last night. You didn't win the Mega Millions, or you didn't win the Powerball. Sorry, I didn't either. The good news is you can reap the benefits of that in another way, especially as a student who's a senior in high school. All of the state financial aid is lottery funded. So your little scratch-off tickets that you get at the convenience store, all the way up to the Powerball and the Mega Millions. All of the proceeds that the state of Kentucky generates from that goes into the state's higher education portfolio. So that's the good news. So you still won. So you hear those commercials from the Kentucky Lottery that says you're a winner either way. That's what they mean. And so all of that funding goes to the Kentucky General Assembly. And then the legislatures vote on how to spend that. More good news is it's already in statute how to spend that lottery money. So if there's more lottery money in a given year, or possibly slightly less money revenue in a certain year, that calculation is already there. And the good news is most state legislatures know enough to not tinker with it too much. They know that they'll have a lot of angry people at their doorstep if they try to tinker too much with that. So it has some good staying power. So what is that calculation? Almost everybody's familiar with the KEYS program through the state of Kentucky, the Kentucky Educational Excellence Scholarship. So you know that as grades equal money, right? So from freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year in high school, you earn that money and you generate that KEYS portfolio for yourself that you're able to use at a school in Kentucky. So what does the state benefit from that? The whole idea of the program is that it's enticing you as a Kentucky high school senior to stay in the state of Kentucky for college. They don't want you leaving the state. They want to keep you here. They want you to establish a family here after you've gone to school, and it's a good idea. Because then that helps the state economy. So that's the idea behind that. So the KEYS money is funded first through the lottery proceeds, and that is guaranteed. So those you know exactly what you're going to get in KEYS money. So that program comes out first. That is fully funded by lottery proceeds. Whatever is left in a given year, depending on how well the lottery did that year, depending on revenues, whatever is left then falls into a calculation, and it gets loosely split into two different categories. This is called the College Access Program, or the CAP, C-A-P, and the Kentucky Tuition Grant, or KTG. Both of these programs are need-based. So we talked about the difference between a scholarship and a grant in our series of videos. So check that out if you're not sure the difference between a scholarship and a grant. But the College Access Program, CAP, and the Kentucky Tuition Grant, KTG, are both need-based grant programs in the state of Kentucky. CAP is available to any student, it's available to any college university if you qualify as a student. The Kentucky Tuition Grant, however, is only available if you're going to a private Kentucky college university, such as Thomas More. Those two programs, the funding is a little bit different from the lottery. So the CAP program is essentially the state's version of the federal Pell Grant. So loosely the same rules apply as the federal Pell Grant. It's a little bit less money. So the state program, the CAP grant, has a certain threshold each year of money, and it depends on the school that you're going to, whether it's a 2-year school or a 4-year school, degree school that you're going to. So that CAP grant is there, and it's only available to students who qualify for it based on Pell eligibility. So that gets funded, as well as the Kentucky Tuition Grant if you're eligible at a 4-year private school. Those two programs, depending on how much lottery funds are left, they are considered first come, first serve. And so if you hear your high school guidance counselors or even us at the college level say, you need to get that FAFSA in as soon as possible. The FAFSA opens October 1st every year, get it in as soon as possible. That's because we never truly know when that lottery money, when that last dollar is going to be gone. And so you need to get that FAFSA in as soon as possible. Does it mean you need to do it on midnight leading into October 1st? No, not necessarily, but you need to do it sooner rather than later, simply because we just don't know when that lottery money will run out. So again, KEYS money, it's there. That gets funded first. Whatever is left of the pie of lottery money, then that gets separated into the CAP and the KTG, that College Access Program and the Kentucky Tuition Grant. Whenever the money's gone, it's gone. So get that FAFSA in first. At the federal level, so moving on to how do federal grants get funded. A little bit more complicated, but in some ways a little less complicated. The federal grant program is actually a little bit simpler. There's mainly only one grant, the federal Pell Grant. That is set by Congress. So there's a congressional act that establishes that federal Pell Grant every year, and it has think of it like a cost of living increase every year that's built into statute. And so the Pell Grant increases incrementally a little bit year by year, unless another act is passed by Congress that makes a more substantial change to the Pell Grant program. The Pell Grant is on a sliding scale. So as the FAFSA calculation, it spits out this number of need, eligibility, of financial need, as that number starts to get lower. So essentially, as your financial need gets higher, in other words, your eligibility for these grants get higher, and it happens on a sliding scale. So the higher the need, the higher the grant. The lower the financial need that you as a family have, the lower your eligibility for that grant, or possibly you don't qualify for the grant at all. So that is really the federal funding program. Now, of course, there is no federal lottery program. That's us. That's you and me, the taxpayer. So that is just part of the general budget every year. There is a certain amount of money, and actually that pot of money is $120 billion every year gets set aside for post-secondary education. So basically financial aid for college students. So part of that $120 billion is the federal Pell Grant. The majority of it, though, as you might have guessed, is the loan program, the federal direct loan program. So that's how that gets funded. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it or give it a share. If you have other questions, be sure to put a comment, and maybe we just might answer that in a future video.